Hey guys, Adam Perry here with TrueDFS, and I am going to go over today's Frozen Frenzy NHL DFS slate. 32 teams all in action. It's too much. It is too much. And we got one game tomorrow, but I have the unfortunate timing too of the slate starting early because of the Frozen Frenzy. So we've got games from like 5 Central to 10 Central, and I won't be able to play because of the early time. And if you are playing, you've got to watch all night, right? Because you've got like a 10 o'clock late night hammer. It's not just any game, it's the Kings with like a 3.5 goal implied total going against the Sharks. So there's just a lot to look out for on this slate. We will go over and try and keep it small, right? We'll go look at the projections, see what hand building can kind of do. It gives us a feel for the slate. It gives us a feel for some of the kind of no puck things like the lines we need to look out for. And, we could always look at natural stat trick for the on-off minutes and the shift charts and these things. So plenty of important things to do there. And we've been doing this. If people put the teams they like, we could do a hand build with them and get an idea of how that goes. But then most importantly is we're going to trust the sim. So I uploaded just one to the flagship, and we'll use that to build a 150 set of lineups and build a portfolio for the flagship GPP on DraftKings. We could try single entry if any folks are out there playing that. And then we'll maybe look at the results from last night. We've been doing this a little bit more, is looking at our results from the previous night, which has been really helpful in getting an idea for what kind of stacks grade well and do well in certain fields. And last night's really interesting because it was just a 2-game slate. There's some question of what the edges really are, even if there are edges. Obviously, SaberSim will tell us that. Now it'll favor lineups that it likes. It's not a perfect answer, but it is an answer on what grades well in the post-contest simulation. So let's go ahead and do all of that. If I'm looking at projections on their face, it looks like Florida's bunching up. Now, I imagine Florida gets some ownership because of that. So they're enticing. But on a slate this big, I mean, you could go so many spots. And do you really want to eat ownership like that? I don't know. But we should see what we could do with them. I think, without Barkov, they're obviously not the same team. And without, without Marner? Or, no, who'd they have? Who's the guy? Shows you the Marchand. And Chichuk, okay. So Marchand's out now. Chichuk and Barkov have been out all season. But that's going to make them quite cheap. So you've got Bennett, Reinhardt, Samoskevich, Verhaeghe on the power play with Seth Jones. Verhaeghe, Reinhardt are going to correlate on line 1. Samoskevich will not correlate with Bennett. So the correlation isn't great, but let's see what the pricing looks like. Let's see if we get in. Now, we're going to want to look for outlier performances. And we see time and time again that these grade really well in SaberSim. The onslaughts, the 5-mans, the 6-mans. So I think we should go ahead and try and build that way. I mean, that's cheap for Reinhardt. What was he coming in? Almost 8K last year. I remember when Samoskevich debuted and he was dirt cheap. Seth Jones at only 4,700 is nice. So there you have the power play. You could throw in I think it was Lundell, right? Yeah. So he's grading well. Lundell's grading really well. You could throw him in for the total onslaught. Now, this is especially, I think, powerful in the smaller field stuff. But we're looking for outlier performances on a 16-game slate. There's bound to be one. This is like the same principle as an MLB DFS, right? The larger the slate, the more 5-mans become in play. The smaller the slate, the less you have to play 5-man stacks. So let's see what goalie's standing out. You could correlate with Bobrovsky, I suppose, but let's see. Vasilevsky standing out as the top value. Let's see what the price is like here. I mean, look at how much money we have left to do with as we please. So you could do a whole lot here. You could do let's Carr, someone of strong value. We could do one of these top guys. McKinnon, really popping. McKinnon and Makar popping. Pasternak, where was he last night? But still, nevertheless, always a good play. So could you throw in like a Nate McKinnon with him? Sure can. Then you get a mid-price D, a little less than mid-price, but plenty of guys here. You can't correlate them with Tays if you do 6. But you can do the 5-man and correlate Makar and Tays for sure. We got Winnipeg on this, so we could play Tays and Tays. That might be the nuts, right? We build a Winnipeg stack with Tays, Jonathan Tays, and so you can throw Rossi in there. Deneau is going to look all right. Kulich, Hayton, a Utah team that keeps scoring. It's just a ton you could do with Florida. I imagine they get owned. It's hard not to like them. Let's see what the total is. It's got to be a pretty strong total. And all those guys being out makes them so cheap if you want to get the full lines or the power play. Yeah, looking really nice there. One team I was playing around with was St. Louis, of all people, of all teams. They're another one with guys out that's just making them so cheap. The total is not as high as like a Florida, but you could do even more with them. If you look at they have this same problem of not correlating well, but correlating, of course, on the power play, working out great and being dirt cheap. You get Kirill Buchnevich correlation, right? No, in Buchnevich, you get Kirill and Holloway correlation. And you throw in like a Sundqvist is min-priced. Just so much you could do with these guys. So I was playing around with that. They weren't showing up. I don't think they're going to be owned. So I don't know. I'm kind of lately into these like cheap stuff. But we'll let the Sims decide it for us. But this will give us a feel for things. Speaking of a feel for things, one piece of news you got to look out for in this early stuff. Nylander, game time decision. And I think Ghosted Spear is a game time decision for Carolina. So these are going to be consequential. Ghosted Spear is a kind of a mid-price D guy, but a lot of upside because he's going to be power play 1. Now, that's a tough game and a tough matchup, but Ghosted Spear is someone you got to look out for. And Nylander is someone to look out for, of course. You could always play him. He's tough to get in with AM34, but if you had like Nylander in your sets, do we have him projected? So you're going to want to watch out to make sure he plays. We don't have Nylander projected, but he could be in. So that is really consequential news. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. You could do just about anything here if you play their power play. I mean, now you really can go McKinnon easily. Why isn't that? Oh, I have St. Louis clicked. Well, my bad. So I don't know. We'll see how much the builder gives us St. Louis. I'm into it. It's scary. The total's not great, but it's not terrible either. And they let you do so much around them. Can we correlate a goalie? I mean, if you look at the pricing's way off. They've got them as heavy favorites with Binnington here, but they're not. They're like a coin flip. So I don't know. You could get them in and do a lot of stuff with a St. Louis. Can we play Wedgwood? Yeah. Then you have 3,600. We won't play a full lineup, but could do some damage here. Plenty of guys. Bjorkstrand on the power play. Doan getting power play 1 time. Can you get no? Well, you could do Shen and then take out the 2 Colorado guys. Stevenson, Florida, you can play Rodriguez. You can get Sam Miskevich, the power play one in Florida. A lot of options if you go cheap. The other one I was playing around with that I kind of thought was interesting today is Winnipeg. Now, Winnipeg is, I don't know. I'm looking at the total here. It's not great. I was getting them in some sims. The total's not great. The prices are okay, but they have really concentrated scoring, we've noticed. Right? So we've kind of looked at the time on ice and where the scorings come from. And Winnipeg is just really looking strong. They have a strong power play too, and full correlation from the even strength of the power play. So they're definitely playable. And the price is not great, but it's at a point where you could still get some stuff around them. So, I would consider it. I think it's worth thinking of those if you are doing a hand build. But let's just build right now a portfolio for the old flagship. So we're going to use Goldie's projections. Remember, I should have said this before. Like and subscribe. It helps us out. And check out TrueDFS.com because you can get access to Goldie's projections, Sheets' projections, SaberSim, the Patered Analytics model for DFS and betting, all for like $20-$30 than you just pay for SaberSim alone. There's a ton of added value there. It's really probably the most robust package you see in the industry. Now, I'm only going to build certain kinds of stacks. You can say, why do that? There's plus EV lineups of all kinds, and you don't want to constrain the builder. But I do want to constrain it because I only get 5,000 lineups. So if I'm going to build, and have 200 222s in there and 175 of them show up as negative EV, I just wasted 175 candidate lineups that I can grade. And you could build 10 bazillion lineups on a 16-game slate. I don't see why I would waste any of my 5,000. That's all I got. So it's going to slow it down for sure. We're really constraining the builder, but that's okay. Give yourself some time before lock. Let's see. Who else looks good in the projections? Boston's got some guys. Colorado, they're coming up. No one really bunching up, though. I wonder about that Kings thing. The super late night hammer is kind of interesting, right? Against the Sharks. Sharks can score, though. They're not bad themselves. But no one really bunching up. Carolina's got a couple guys here. You got like Jarvis and Aho. Tough matchup against Vegas, but let's see. Vegas goalie in play too. Carolina takes more shots than anyone in the league. So that's something to keep in mind. Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers, are they correlated? No. Oh, they are correlated. And you throw in Svechnikov, who's cheap, right? So this is tough, right? Vegas is a tough matchup, but the value is coming in for these guys. Could make some sense. And Ghost. I'm going to get a goalie. We can go back to Vasilevsky. We can get more. We can correlate our goalie. That can't hurt, right? Is Kucherov too much? It's up there. Can you get Bjorkstrand? No. We need a center. So we can play like Point. Only 6,500 now. Can't get Point in Hedman. You can get like a Moser. Who's going to be their best point per dollar. D guy. Hedman looks nice, though. Can't really do that, though. You could correlate Point and Bjorkstrand, who's on the power play, and then get a D guy in the kind of mid-range. Oh, there you go. You could do Ekblad. No, Ekblad is not currently Ekblad is not on power play one, but he got some power play one ice time in the last game. I think we should take a look at that. Right. Ekblad's on 2. So I don't know. Ekblad's not going to look bad, though. And if he supplants Seth Jones at all with 23 minutes of ice time and some power play time, if they shuffle that up, what did they do? I think guys were saying Ekblad was on power play 2, and then when the Marchand injury happened, he moved up and then went double D power play. Let's see. These are things worth knowing. Where's the shift chart? Why did it take us off of that? We'll see how our build's going after this. Full report. Shift chart. Thank you. Right, we had some value. We had a little bit of added value last night because SaberSim's data source had Fowler on power play 1 for St. Louis when it was Falk. So we actually got Falk in at a little bit less, which was nice. Let's see. Here you've got Jones. Yeah, Ekblad's working in with power play 1 late in the game. So you could get some power play 1 ice time for Ekblad and some value there. So worth noting if you're doing the Florida stuff. Did Seth Jones? Yes, Seth Jones was on it too. So they went double D power play in their last chance, in their last power play. So that's like worth noting, right? Is the correlations you get out of the box and in SaberSim on Florida are not necessarily going to be as they are in the game. They could go double D power play with Ekblad. I don't think they had a morning skate. So worth thinking about if you're playing Florida. Let's build a portfolio of 150. No, I just told it I wanted 150. And we're going to diversify our lineups. So we're going to get, not just the top ROI lineups, but the lineups that fit together to give us a good diverse set. And it is Florida jumping up as our top stack. Then we get that King stuff. Ottawa, who's been on just a total heater. 7 goals again last night. Colorado makes some sense. Dallas coming in there. Dallas is nice because their time on ice for the top guys has really improved since last season. They were splitting evenly for their first 3 lines, and it's not the case now. Then you get the Carolina and the St. Louis in there. So I'm happy about that. Colorado is our top onslaught. A couple of those 6-man. Same with the Edmonton. 5-man's coming up quite a bit. 4-man's, they're there. It's all that Florida. All that Florida. Beware of how the correlations are going to work with Florida. You're almost better off with the onslaught in a way than trying to thread the needle on how they're going to run things. Let's see what these St. Louis's look like. Getting one with Ottawa. Oh, and a Werenski one off. Okay. Here's with McCarr, Jack Hughes. Said that with a real accent, a real Chicago accent, huh? McCarr. It's hard not to, isn't it? Or is that just me? Anyway, there you have our portfolio. A good amount of Florida, but it's pretty, it's pretty well spread out. Healthy dose of Florida, but then a little bit of everyone. just playing it even on this robust, huge 16 gamer. Let's take a look. People love this where we look at like past results. And this is really one of the most powerful things you could do with SaberSim. It's like, look at what graded well. What graded well? I played the single entry, the 121. See what like the top ROI lineups were. 5-man, a 4-3, a 6-man, some 4-3s, 6-man. So in the 2-gamer, you get more of the 4-3s and the 6s and the 5-2s. What you don't get, you still need correlation, right? These 3-3-2s just grading really negative. It's not like you can't build a 4-3 or 5-man that's negative, but the 3-3-2s just not doing it, even on the small slate. The 4-2, meh. What's the ROI here? That's positive. The thing is, you could say, well, some of these ROIs aren't that bad. Well, they are when you consider there was a lot of overlay last night. So there you have it. I mean, that's an answer. Let's see in the quote unquote flagship. Is it the poke check? Right? Kick save. Which one has the top shelf is the 3-3-3, right? They normally play. So the $15 flagship. Let's see like what the top ROI lineups are. 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 5-2, 6, 5-2. Even in these large fields, you've got to get correlation to win in the long run. It's one of those levers we could pull, those boxes we could check in DFS. You may think it's only a 2-game slate. You don't need to do it. But in the long run, you're adding so much more value with strong correlation. So how does that change? I mean, it doesn't change much of what we did in our process before lock. We're only building certain kinds of lineups so we could grade the best highly correlated lineups that we can. This is also a function of the overlay, and a function of people not doing it enough. But correlation is king, and that's what we're learning. So I'm not going to go too in-depth today. We'll look maybe next time, like we looked at Scott's lineups, and we could look at people's lineups in chat or whatever. I want to get back to doing that, so maybe we'll do that. Not tomorrow. There's no slate tomorrow, really. There's one measly game after the Frozen Frenzy. But we'll get back to that on Thursday. And, yeah, with that, I remind you, like and subscribe. It helps us out. Check out TrueDFS.com. You could get these packages. Not only can you get the package with everything included for like $30 more than SaberSim, there's a 30% discount if you use the promo code NBA2526. The NBA is in all caps. So you get the promo code, and it's like the same price you pay for SaberSim, but you get everything else on top of it. So really, we're proud of what we put together. Come check it out. Join us in Discord. And with that, I wish you good luck and on tonight's slate, and let's make some money together. Let's go.